want me to put that on my tudger?
Harry's wife, the monster of Montecito, rises. She's back. Yes, the sound of the terrified as they look upon the monster of Montecito as she's back. Although, of course, as we all know, she never truly went away as a consequence of the repeated attempts to steal the limelight and thus draw fuel and assert control, repeatedly done through the PR puff pieces that I've highlighted. Yes, as you'll have undoubtedly seen, the Duchess of Sussex has re-emerged. And she does look notably different, but more of that later on in a future video. India McTaggart in The Telegraph explains that it's the first time Harry's wife has been seen publicly this year, other than the release of official photographs in March. And here we are near the end of April. Roughly 4 months she has been hidden away, issuing instructions to those minions to ensure that she stays in the news, doing that 1 hour a week work for Archwell. The Duchess of Sussex has re-emerged in a rare public appearance as she made a surprise introduction to a TED Talk by the photographer who captured her pregnancy pictures. In a pre-filmed video introduction, Assertion of Control, the Duchess spoke of her experience with Meghan Harriman, the Nigerian-born British photographer and social activist, saying he has an unmatched eye for a good photograph. It marks the first time the Duchess, 41, has made a public appearance this year, other than the release of official photos last month from her trip to Harvest Home. Facade Management, a Los Angeles organization that supports homeless pregnant women. The rare public showing also comes after the Sussexes confirmed that only the Duke would be attending the King's coronation in Westminster Abbey in less than a fortnight, as the Duchess has chosen to remain at home in California with the couple's children. Pausing there, although of course she's given contrasting reasons as to why she is staying away from the coronation, but we all know that it's because she faces significant threats to her control, and her narcissism has operated with the cowardice that a middle mid-ranger is known for. Returning to the article, in the short introductory speech, the Duchess said, "I've experienced his talent firsthand." Well, that does tend to be the case when you ask someone to take photographs of you, so thank you for that meaningless observation. As he has captured many meaningful milestones for me and my family, and I know there are many others who share in this experience. It's not clear if she's meaning there's many other people who've experienced his talent firsthand, or that lots of other people have experienced her meaningful milestones. She lacks clarity. We then get some of the beige nonsense that she's renowned for. She added, "His lens has photographed everything from events that have changed the world, invisible moments we all desperately needed to see, along with some of the planet's most recognizable faces." I'm not sure how you see an invisible moment. I would have thought by the very nature of it being described as invisible meant that you can't see it. And furthermore, if you can't see something, how can you photograph it? You can't photograph a cloak of invisibility, can you, when it's in operation? So how do you photograph an invisible moment? Of course, this is the pretentious bullshit that she comes out with. Oh, invisible moments in my life that we all desperately needed to see. I think what she's trying to say is that there are private moments that are photographed, moments that ordinarily might be missed. Of course, we all know that she's not very good when it comes to using words, even though she thinks she does, failing to understand what equity means, and also, of course, not understanding what visceral and guttural mean. After all, she experiences a guttural response repeatedly to many things, causing her undoubtedly to go when of course she means visceral. The article continues with a further of her quote saying, "But this was not always this path, and you might be surprised to hear not who, but what he credits for his success. I am so thrilled to welcome to the TED stage my dear friend, Meghan Harriman." Wow, well, that was all worth it, wasn't it? And in actual fact, we all know, because she's a narcissist, that it was nothing to do with introducing Meghan Harriman, although her facade management betrays it as such, and it was all about, hello, look at me. I'm the Duchess of Sussex. I'm really important. Look at me. Look at me. You, in the back, look at me. It was all about Harry's wife making an appearance, and it just so happens that Meghan Harriman gets mentioned alongside it. Mr. Harriman has captured some of the Duchess's most intimate moments, including the announcement of her second pregnancy, taken over Zoom. He also photographed the first official portrait of her daughter, Lilibet, taken in the summer while the family were visiting the United Kingdom for Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Mr. Harriman also took the pictures of the Duke and Duchess at the One Young World opening ceremony in September 2022. You won't fail to forget, or rather you won't fail to remember that ceremony because, of course, it was accompanied by one of the world's most boring speeches where she just talked about herself. He is known for his social activism and became one of the most widely shared photographers of the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020. Note here Harry's wife character trait acquisition after he went onto the streets of London to capture the protests. Mr. Harriman's TED Talk touched on his experience at the Black Lives Matter protests, his rise to fame, becoming the first black man to shoot a British Vogue cover, and his aim to shine a light on the effects of climate change through his photography. Lots of boxes being ticked there, which Harry's wife, of course, acquires by virtue of her character trait acquisition. I've had an extraordinary career, photographing amazing humans and amazing moments, he said. In a post on his Instagram of an image from the event on Sunday, Mr. Harriman said, "The Duchess of Sussex was kind enough to introduce me onto the stage for my TED. Thank you for the support, Harry's wife." Well, Mr. Harriman, you may well have benefited from that, but be under no illusion, she wasn't doing it for you, she was doing it for herself because she is a narcissist. Thus, Harry's wife is back, and this provides us with quite a bit of juicy observations to make with regard to her and, of course, her narcissism being in action, and there's a couple of further videos where I touch on this. But the fact is, she has made an appearance. She has done so to manage her facade, she has done so to assert control over the viewership and readership, knowing full well that this will be picked up upon, and is an opportunity for her to make that appearance and, subconsciously, acquire the prime aims. She hasn't been seen for some time, and, as I'll be explaining in a short video coming up shortly, it's quite apparent why she's been missing. Of course, a collateral consequence of that was enabling her to hang Harry out to dry following the damaging disclosures that he made in Wire. It's also been an opportunity for her to assert control by staying in a position of withdrawal, but it's evident that there was an overriding reason why she has stayed out of the public eye for numerous weeks that I'll address in a video explaining more about the somatic narcissist that'll be available later today. So, with Harry's wife having made a reappearance, what do people think about that? Let's take a dive below the line to see how people view her reappearance. Is it with screams of terror, as we had in our opening, or is it with joyous cries of jubilation as a consequence of her being back? Catherine O'Brien kicks off with, "What's with the hair? For someone who accused the royal family of unconscious bias, she does her best to hide her natural hair. Cultural appropriation works both ways, or does it?" Well, of course, that is the usual situation of her engaging in her hypocrisy. Martin Noon You can take the girl out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the girl. She looks like a Chigwell chav. Shut up. Louise Brown, is it not cultural appropriation to straighten your natural hair, or does that only work one way? Penelope Simpson. The Duchess, who only discovered she was black when she came to Britain, has never had a black boyfriend. Check out the wedding pictures to Trevor. Not a black face to be seen. Susan Wood. So now she is using the title she should not have. An American woman living in America, not working for the royals, rather against, to promote her friends on award shows. This is not right. It doesn't matter who she is married to. She does not live or work here or promote this country or our royals in a positive way. Plain Mrs. Windsor should suffice, and that's generous. As for the children, they shouldn't have titles until they are 18. It should be looked at then. One wasn't even born here. Those rules were made for royals living here and working within the royal fold. Penelope Simpson, those hair extensions look more and more ridiculous. What else has been said below the line? Gunilla Jones, how hypocritical can she actually be? She calls the royal family racist and unconsciously biased, and then she goes and tries to make herself white and even alter her facial features. Alwyn Fleming, during the coronation, please do not report on anything that this woman does. Mark Austin, she looks AI generated. Dan Palin, she has no morals, but I have taste. Definitely a no. David Cornwall says she's supporting a photographer, probably because she's jealous of Kate's brilliant and natural photographs, which incidentally are better than this man's. Well, fair to say that amongst the comments there's a lack of support for her, disapproval at her return, and of course many people are commenting on her appearance, which I'm not addressing in this video because I'm going to address it in one that's coming up shortly. But here she is, once again ensuring that everybody has to talk about her, once again ensuring that somebody else's event is overshadowed by her appearance, just the way she likes it. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.